better coordination, synergy value, and enhance customer benefits, the boards of directors of LTI and Mindtree at their respective meetings held today approved a composite scheme of amalgamation of these independently listed companies under the L&T Group. The proposed integration will see LTI and Mindtree join stand to create an IT service company of size exceeding $3.5 billion. The transaction is subject to shareholder and regulatory approval. We believe that this merger will help unlock greater value for all the stakeholders. We have seen the performance of both the companies has been above other mid-tier companies. Going forward, the merged entity will have both the scale and resources to take on bigger challenges and deliver. Upon the scheme becoming effective, all shareholders of Mindtree will be issued shares of LTI at the ratio of 73 shares of LTI for every 100 shares of Mindtree. The new shares of LTI so issued will be traded on NSE and BSE. L&T Group Limited will hold 68.73% of LTI after the merger. It is not really that time LTI, it will be known as LTIMindtree. The combined entity, as I said, will be known as LTIMindtree, leveraging the advantages of both brands and creating value for all the stakeholders. The merged entity will continue to be managed as a market leader, and we wish to announce the following. As a result of this merger, obviously we had two CEOs, and Mr. Debashish Chatterjee will be heading the combined entity. Mr. Sanjay Jalona, CEO and MD, has decided to move on from the organization for personal reasons. We place on record the management's appreciation for Mr. Jalona's leadership and wish him all the successes in future. As I mentioned, Mr. Debashish Chatterjee, CEO and MD of Mindtree, will lead the merged entity. Mr. Chatterjee has done a commendable job at leading Mindtree, and we wish him well for new and much expanded role. Thank you all and good luck. If you have any questions, we will be more than both of us, and if need be, my colleagues at the back will be more than happy to answer.
Ankur Mishra from ET now. As you said,
by one.
As you said, regulatory approvals are needed. How much time have you anticipated that it will take?
10 to 11 months.
Mr. Naik, hi, Shilpa from CNBC. I wanted to understand, you had taken over the management of Mindtree. It's been a while since then, but what necessitated the merger now is what I wanted to understand. And also going ahead, can you outline what the revenue and portfolio synergies will be like for both the entities?
Well, I mean, we acquired this company 3 years ago, okay? And today, as I mentioned, this year, it has crossed 3.5 billion between the two companies when merged. And next year, we might be much bigger than that, obviously, because next year is just started. The synergy comes from volume, economy of scale for cost cutting, and large deals today, large business deals. Today, the customer give it to only tier 1 companies if the size is more than 100 million. Mm-hmm. I think the combined entity will have that size to be able to get much better deals in the market to be able to, let's say, address to that. And majority of the verticals that both companies have are not overlapping.
Right.
and therefore it is working going to be very well. And the leadership team of Mindtree are predominantly know what vertical they are strong on. LTI team knows what they are strong on. There may be minor overlap here and there, but on the whole, I think it is a very excellent value proposition scheme.
And
Mr.
was
Naik,
there
before,
any competition
when you
we like
acquired-
एक को बोलो ना
combined
भाई, एक को
Mr.
बोलो.
When you acquired Mindtree, and at that point in time the question was raised why both companies are not getting merged. The answer was that we're looking at a scale in terms of revenue of more than $5 billion for combined entity before we look at that merger and the synergies that will come through. Now it's at $3.5 billion. So what is the reason why you are, you have pushed ahead the entire timeline which you yourself have
Well,
given?
first of all, we never said it will take 5 years.
No, not 5 years.
Neither-
$5 billion revenue, combined the revenue.
I think there is a misunderstanding. We are already 5 billion. Because there is a third company which we are not merging with this. But the point is 3.5 billion, and this 10 to 11 months it is going to go in merging. And you have to consider what will be the revenue, which I can't tell you now, of coming year, which is not 3.5 billion, certainly more than that.
And what
Mr.
about the
Naik,
third
Mr.
company
Naik,
which will it be merged eventually with?
The answer is no. That's an engineering company. This is an IT company. That's the biggest independent engineering company of India. And
Mr. Naik,
that will
Anisha.
on its own become bigger and bigger and more prospective to all the stakeholders. Yes.
Mr. Naik, Anisha here from BT now. Just wanted to understand, are you seeing some sort of cultural integration issues that might happen? Because earlier itself when Mindtree was taken over by L&T, there was a bit of change. And now with the merger coming in, do you anticipate some sort of issues at the
We
cultural
don't.
level?
One thing is we know each other for 3 years. Second thing, the initial, let's say, disturbances were created, let's say, which we should not have. Not we, but the owners. They considered that this was a hostile takeover. It was not. One of the owner, who unfortunately died, came to us and said, instead of my giving to independent, not independent, private equity, my employees will be happy if L&T was to take over. He came 4 or 5 times to meet Mr. Subramaniam and Mr. Sankaraman, our CFO. And finally, of course, we had a final meeting. But the point is, we did not enter to take over hostile manner. Now, as per the regulatory requirement, if you acquire more than 20%, you have to make an open offer. But the bad publicity that time made some people think, will this really properly integrate? We had also, those who were under the influence of the owners also left. And therefore, many people wondered how the share price went up to 700 rupees. And some of the owners sold it also. But today we are close to 4,000. At the peak we were 5,000. We have increased the value in 3 years by 5 times more or 6 times more. So it had been a case study in the industry, how in such a short time a company can do so well to go up in value creation 5 to 6 times. So I don't think there is a cultural issue. We have our team at the back who know each other very well. 3 of them came from Cognizant, so they knew each other for a long time. And quite a few came from Infosys who are not here. They also know each other. Mindtree was known for its employees' care. But L&T has always been, historically, in the top 5 of the companies which is most desired by employees to work for. So there is no cultural difference. It is in fact strengthening each other's culture.
But Mr. Naik, the other thing that the street is talking about is that right now demand environment is very strong for the IT companies. Would this take away the focus of the management from growing to, let's say, managing the integration issues? Because whatever merger happens, there are always teething issues.
See, you are right, but we are creating a integration committee which is completely independent of those who will run to start with 10, 11 months independently as if nothing has happened. And it is only sometime very close to end of the year that it would have formally merged. So we are quite aware of what you said, that in the bargain of merger, we should not lose sight of the fact that this year we have to achieve our budget, what we have planned, to what extent we have to grow. And we are quite concerned, as you say, and therefore all the remedial measures are being taken.
And the
So when you
headcount
look
will
at
remain
the
strong.
growth rate of these two companies, Mindtree and L&T Infotech, will the combined entity grow at the same growth rate in FY23?
1 plus
I
1
think-
hopefully is 5.
Huh?
1
You're
plus
saying
1
more
is
than that?
hopefully 5.
Are you saying it's going to be more than
No,
that?
but this year, whole year is likely to go away as a two independent entity during the process. So I don't think your question should have been asked in 23. In 23, both companies have their own plan and both will achieve that. And that will be certainly not less than what they are targeting. Next year onwards, when we have one entity for the full year, what Mr. Subramaniam says, 1 plus 1, he said equal to 5. Of course, he is actually day to day involved in it, so he is so optimistic. But I am very happy if 1 plus 1 is equal to 3.
Just
Yes,
a clarification,
sir.
Mr. Jalona would be moving on. Will that be immediate effect? Or
Huh?
Mr. Jalona would be moving out of the company from immediate effect?
No. He has a notice period.
But who will take care of L&T Infotech during that merger
During
period?
this-
As you said, it will take 10, 11 months. And if he goes away, let's say in 2 to 3 months, who will
Please,
be heading
these
it?
two people. He is a COO and he is a chief of sales. And if we have to supplement that
Yes.
with a CFO included, three of them, and Mr. Subramaniam, by the way, is very involved. He is by nature a very involved day-to-day person, and he spends quite some time on IT. So whenever they have an issue, they will approach him. In some extreme cases, if required, they will approach maybe him, and he will and me will put together our mind. But don't forget, this is very much uppermost in our mind.
No, but the only question
Sir,
is, will
taking
Mr.
on from
Chatterjee
that,
be
at a
involved?
global level also, then you will have two heads
अरे
for
भाई एक
America.
बोलो.
No, I mean talking
Later.
about the adding on to that, on a global level also, then you'll have two heads for Europe. How are you managing
No,
that?
we have one when we merge.
So, I mean, how will you ensure then that?
As I told you, we have a minimum overlap between the two companies.
Okay.
We hardly approach the same customer. 90% of the business both of them do is not mixing up with each other.
With each other. Okay.
So,
Even if you say,
and wait a minute, and balance 10, 15, 20%, even today, both companies form a combined offer to the customers, which they will do.
sir, even
So
if
you
you're
are
right
right.
that it's not going to be, they're not going to go into each other's area, but there will be a
They
leadership.
don't because their
Leadership,
their
yeah.
verticals are not overlapping.
Right, but
But-
there will be a leadership flux during that period because you will have an America head, you have a
Yeah.
Europe head. There will be, because your CEO will be stepping down in a couple of months. There will
They
be-
are
there will be-
they are very senior COO and chief of sales, and he will have to take and he will take.
What about vertical heads?
No,
They
no,
will-
let's be
No,
very clear.
vertical heads are as they are. There is no changing.
So
One
when the
minute, sir.
merge
No, one
entity
minute, one
happens,
minute.
there will be two vertical heads for
What
each
is being mentioned today is a decision by the board of both the companies independently to put these companies together. So these companies function as independent companies till the formal regulatory approvals are through. So they will have to function as independent companies till such time. So there will be CBOs and vertical heads as the case is right now till that formal process is through. And we will rationalize it at that particular point of time through the integration committee.
Will there
Sir,
be
you-
flux because of that?
We don't think so.
And will the growth targets get impacted because the
Chairman
bandwidth
just
now would be-
answered. Chairman
bandwidth
just
now would
answered.
be-
Chairman just answered to you that we have a budget. The entire intensity of the effort is to maximize that and to keep achieving further.
So you have mentioned about the steering committee. Who will be heading that? Will Mr. Chatterjee will be head of that? And apart
Hello,
from,
I don't think I can answer. Within next 9 to 10 month process, we will have enough consultation with Mr. Subramaniam. If there is any issue, I also told you that all the verticals are complementary to each other. In rare cases where they need a combination of strength, even today, they bid the project together, which that will happen. And tell me one thing, in any given situation, whether today or 10 years later, right, one has to take the situation as it commands and make the best out of it. We are very confident both companies will achieve this year's budget and perhaps even more.
no, I just wanted to understand, sir. Will the when you say about steering committee, the representation
We'll announce
will be
it
there for
appropriately.
the both the companies,
Yeah.
or that will be independent of?
No, it will be representatives of both the companies, and we'll announce it as the time goes by.
Sir, even post-merger.
The quantum of large Naik,
एक मिनट भाई एक बोलो ना.
Mr. Naik, you have been speaking about how IT services will have a larger share of contribution in L&T's group revenues. And of course, this merger will give you the scale. You have finalized your strategic plan. If you can give us a sense on the bigger picture here, how much would IT services contribute to L&T, say, in the next 5 years? And what kind of...
Well, I don't know 5 years, but I think it will be the whole of L&T market cap. I can only tell you market cap. The minimum will be 40% from IT services and some of the IT related other businesses like startup, which SNS, Mrs. Subramaniam has started 2 or 3 of them. And 60% will remain as our normal business as it is today.
Over what time frame?
Huh?
Over what time frame?
It is 2 to 3 years max.
Okay, and the other digital businesses that you have right now, like L&T Next, would that also be consolidated into this?
No, when I said, no, that is not part of these 2 companies.
So
They are by themselves 2 companies.
And Mr. Naik, about the headcount, will there be any layoffs, etc., or you will keep the entire strength of the headcount at
What is it
18,000?
you are saying?
The headcount, the total number of employees in the 2 countries, will there be any layoffs, or they will continue to?
I think we are growing so fast and the
That you will
labor,
need more people?
the manpower is such a lot in short supply that even when 2 companies combine, we can take 10 to 20% more.
Is that the plan? Is that
That
plan
is
of
the way
hiring
the
more?
situation is now. If we want to service all the customers, we need considerably increase, 15 to 20% increase in the manpower. So we have no such worry.
Sir, are you looking for any further acquisition to strengthen the...
I think that is not the purpose for meeting today. But if there is a good opportunity, we will always be looking for one.
So what's the quantum of large deals that you are expecting now?
SNS, would you like to tell?
This is a market sensitive information, right? So both the companies are in the market. They are looking out for deals, and we are well placed. Let's put it that way.
And
Sir,
SNS, apart
excuse
from
me,
the risk that we talked about,
Even-
the cultural integration, are there any other risks that you have taken into factor? What was your thought process when you looked at it, and why now? Why not, let's say, a year ago or a year after?
We told you we acquired, the chairman clearly said we acquired Mindtree 3 years back. Certain leadership which was there moved away. We had to get in fresh leadership to get the company moving, steady it, and put it on the growth path. COVID happened. Travel, which was a fairly serious vertical for Mindtree, went down. We had to get it back. Now things seems to be in order. In our opinion, both the companies have now come of certain size. We are also competing with the big players for some of their deals. And there's confidence within the team that why don't we go ahead with it and let's put ourselves higher on the quadrant to go for the bigger deals. And there's a natural synergy that is built in. Also, as you grow further, both the companies will start developing certain areas of friction, in the sense both will develop certain horizontals, both will develop certain verticals, both will certain other areas to grow. So this is the right point to put it both together, because both has, the chairman correctly said, in different verticals. We put it together with good leadership as we see today. I think there's a good chance to grow further and take it further.
And
By the way,
Minority
एक
shareholder-
minute.
sorry.
By the way, you are the press, so you are asking question from your perspective. The market, the shareholders, the stakeholders, the analysts, for last 2 years have been telling us,
Why not?
why are you not merging? Why are you not
You
merging?
yourself have asked.
But that's the reason,
And
right?
1 minute, and 1 year ago, 1 year since, these questions are becoming more and more prominent. And anybody can question why not 1 year back, why not 1 year from now. My point is why not 2 years from now.
Right.
So
not, why not
I
from
think
now?
it is a management decision and a board decision. This is the right time to do it.
सर एक सवाल
do you
हिंदी में
think-
पूछना चाहूंगा सर आपने बोला कि पिछले 2 साल से एनालिस्ट खुद ही पूछ रहे थे कि क्यों ये मर्ज नहीं किया जाए आपने अपने लेवल पे कब पहली बार ये सोचा कि इन कंपनी का मर्जर होना चाहिए व्हेन वाज दिस फर्स्ट डिस्कस सर अगर आप हिंदी में आंसर कर सकें
अगर 2 साल पहले जब वो पूछते थे हमारे दिमाग में था बराबर लेकिन सुब्रमण्यम साहब ने समझाया कि पहले तो द कंपनी वेयर लॉट ऑफ पीपल लेफ्ट विद द ओनर्स had to be recruited, had to be positioned for each position, each of the vertical and horizontal. They had to be stabilized. All the top management team you see, we had to get them, and that itself took a year. And that is that 2 year back, since the market is asking us after knowing that we have been able to handle this changeover exceedingly well, otherwise the value of the company would not have gone up 6 times, right? Now it is your word versus mine. Why not 1 year back? Why not 1 year after? All I can say is this will be taken very well by all the stakeholders and all the customers who we check. They see this as a very positive step. And some of them have gone to the extent of saying, that previously we were giving you $25 million inquiry, now we have no hesitation in giving you 100 million with this size. And this is not the size which you will see. You will see at the end of the year when it becomes one entity, the customer will see what is the total value of this, total revenue of this. I can't tell you now, but
अगला
it
सवाल मेरा वही था
it will have to be substantially better.
लेकिन किसी भी सूरत में जब हम ये मर्ज एंटिटी होगी 1 साल बाद तो जो इसका आउटपुट है बॉटम लाइन और टॉप लाइन बेहतर होगी
भाई हमने 3 दफा बोल चुके हैं कि दोनों कंपनी विल डू एज पर द बजट. नाउ यू आस्क मी व्हाट इज द बजट. सॉरी वी कांट टेल यू. He said it is a market sensitive information.
Sir,
Sir,
even
आपको
after
लगता है कि
merging these
minority-
2 companies, you are nowhere close to the top 4 companies.
No.
How do you scale up? What is the plan?
भाई देखो, this is worse than this is. So you have to move. This company was 0 and started in 2000, much after all the big companies you talked about. And there is not a single example, if you have, you tell me, by an industrial house as diversified as this, has started from 0 and brought to close to 5 billion, although they are not merging with this. IT landscape for us and ecosystem, if you see, will be further stronger with the startups that we have started. So you show me if you all are knowledgeable. Tech Mahindra, you may say, but Tech Mahindra existed much before us as a joint venture with British Telecom. Not a single company that we know as an industrial complex has been able to create such an IT company. If you have any, please tell us.
Sir,
in
आपको
next
लगता है
3
कि
to 4
minority
years
shareholders इस merger ratio को support करेंगे?
क्या?
हाँ, minority shareholders दोनों companies के इस merger की ratio को support करेंगे?
There is a process as per the regulator. We have given it both companies value this thing to individual valuation. Both boards have discussed, and it is very transparent. Any shareholder can object. This is not what it is. We have gone up to 3 digit to go to 0.687. So I don't see any problem at all in any shareholder, whether small or big, finding themselves at any disadvantage. In fact, both of them may be happy.
Sir,
So,
without
Mr. Naik,
talking
what
about
happens to LTTS?
बैठ जाओ, आप बैठ जाओ पहले. हाँ.
sir, without talking about numbers, as you say that you may not want to speak about it. In next 4 to 5 years, this combined entity, where do you see the position of it in top?
Well, we will be very happy if it crosses 10 billion.
Sir, if I may ask just a question, when the discussion of merger was happening, a couple of analysts are saying perhaps the timing is not good, especially when you look at the deal size of the
Analysts are what?
Analysts are saying perhaps the timing of this merger is not good, especially with deal size going smaller and the growth the way these two companies are doing.
Last 1 year, the deal size for us has become bigger. Currently, as I speak, there is a tremendous potential which the customer would not have even included us with our size, but then they mentally knew these two companies belong to the same parent. So though they were giving us the opportunities, they don't have to think once the two companies combine. And as I said, 3.5 plus billion is today. This will become single entity closer to the end of the year. So I don't know which two analysts are saying.
But I think in general the mood was set.
And all the analysts need not know everything because they have never done business in their life.
Any clarity on that?
Sir,
Ah?
I hope you are having an analyst call as well.
Yeah, there is a call after this and they'll say the same thing as I told. If they keep saying, then we tell him, भाई अभी बहुत time हो गया तुमको, अभी कल परसों आ जाना.
Sir, I'm Yatin from CNBC Awaaz. One thing I wanted to know, because L&T as a parent, as a company, as a group is known for creating shareholders value. Obviously, because you are the parent and there is a holding structure and a holding company discount, and because of you, by virtue of having a subsidiary L&T Finance in which you hike your stake, you are facing problems regarding buyback or creating better shareholder value at your parent level. So, is there a plan through which you can reduce this
Buyback of which share?
L&T.
Which company?
L&T.
We don't want to buy back.
Sir, एक proposal तो था पहले.
Why should I tell you now? I will tell my shareholders whenever it comes to.
There were reports because of L&T Finance holding.
Where does L&T Finance holding come? You said it is L&T.
So my question is that in order to reduce, the holding company discount and create shareholder value, are you willing to give away shares of all of these companies?
I think, my friend, can we restrict ourselves to LTIMindtree today? Otherwise, the focus goes away.
First of all, your question is unfounded, and please, whether we should buy, whether we should sell those shares, are the prerogative of the board and shareholders. And we know what we are doing has created immense value. And
create further value to distribute shares.
One day you come and join L&T and create value. I'll keep one vacancy for you.
I'm not competent enough.
So when you are not competent enough, don't ask questions which you have no knowledge about. You can ask questions.
It's my job to ask questions.
My job is
Let's restrict to LTIMindtree.
my job is to answer.
Can we restrict only
to LTIMindtree today, please?
And there are certain questions, people are on the chorus call. Can we also open the line on the chorus call?
One question, Mr. Naik.
Thank you, sir. Participants connected on the audio bridge, if you wish to ask a question, please press star and 1.
Mr. Naik, what happens to LTTS? Will be considered.
It will be standalone company. It's an engineering company.
Yeah.
It is not common with IT company. And by the way, it is already the largest standalone engineering company of India. And if you go back, from the beginning, L&T was known as #1 engineering group. And we have put all our might in that company to be the best engineering and the largest engineering company of India.
So how do you see margins improving ahead post of merger for both these two entities?
I think that will be our efforts.
Mr.
Time will tell.
Thank you.
Sir, if I may ask, how many deals and clients do LTI and Mindtree share at present? And also, if you could give
How many what?
deals and clients do LTI and Mindtree share at present, and also the average deal size, since you mentioned that together they're also good at getting bigger deals. If you could mention what is the average deal size that they get?
Right now, I told you our average deal size is around 25 million. Once in a while, the customer know L&T Group so well because we are in multiple businesses, and lots of customer deal with us in the other division. So they know L&T is very reliable, and therefore, in some cases, they have given us $50 million inquiry. In few cases, they have gone up to 100 million. But now we want to make it as a matter of normal happening. So when the company is combined, and remember, at the end of the year, it will be bigger than this for sure. And we expect that $100 million big deal we will be able to get. I mean, whether we win or not is another matter.
Thank you. So we'll take one question from the audio
एक मिनट
bridge.
यार, कितना?
Can we take few calls from the chorus calls? Yeah, please go ahead.
The next question is from the line of Satya Narayan from Informist Media. Please go ahead. Satya Narayan, please go ahead with your question.
Good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
Yeah. So, do you expect this merger to have any impact of attrition till such time the merger is completed?
It is a very good question. The whole industry has a huge attrition now, highest than ever before. Attrition in both the companies independently, with a difference of 2 or 3% is similar. Employees also will see a powerful company emerging. We think, maybe the attrition rate may come down by a percentage or so. But it will not likely to go up.
Okay. And has lack of scale kept you back from chasing any kind of deals actually?
You mean what scale?
And answer to a certain extent, yes, because
scale.
when you have scale, you get invited to the bigger parties. When you are a particular size, you're not invited. So one of the reasons I traced behind the merger is both the managements felt that to get invited to bigger parties, to have a bigger balance sheet and profit and loss is always better, and that's what we're trying to do.
All right. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Sethuraman Nallur from Reuters. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. Like, what would be the exact size of the combined entity? And you mentioned about you're expecting deal wins in the range of like about $100 million. So when do you have a target like you want to achieve that in the next year with the combined entity or like next couple of years?
I mentioned to you that L&T Group as a whole is a very large group, bigger than any IT companies. Therefore, from the finance point of view, from the strength of net worth point of view, and our reputation on quality, reputation of 80 years existence, quite a few customers who know L&T Group per se have been including us for $100 million deal. But we want to have it happen as a matter of, you can say, routine, which is what end of the year, as I told you, this year will go on more of a process, but end of the year, the size that we will be will qualify us to really be considered for $100 million plus deal.
Yeah, next please.
Okay, sir. Sir, just one more. Like, what would be the combined size of the entity, sir? Because this 3.5 billion, like you have given, is it the combined size?
It is 3.5 plus is a combined size. And after 1 year, when it becomes one entity, you will know what is the combined size. I can't tell you now.
Okay, but this 3.5 now is a combined size.
So 3.55 or whatever, yes, it is more than 2.5.
Okay, sir, thanks.
Thank you. Participants connected at the audio bridge, if you wish to ask a question, you may press star and 1. Thank you. Over to you, sir.
So you wanted to ask a question?
Yes, I wanted to understand what the board composition will be like for the merged entity.
At the moment, both are functioning as two separate independent companies, as they are.
Yeah.
So this will all be decided in the course of time.
Okay, so nothing...
Because we need to declare results till the... operate both the companies and declare results till both the entities get together after regulatory approvals.
Right.
So it's not fair to make comments right now on that. So we'll do it at the appropriate time.
So, closer to the merger being closed is when you would be deciding the board.
I guess so.
No, the results will be declared, no? Of two companies, and A plus B that time will be a combined. Till going forward, the company will expand as we think. 1 plus 1 equal to not 2 but 3, and he thinks it will be so good that it will be 1 plus 1 equal to 5.
Mr. Sumanta, do you think the valuation assigned to Mindtree is fair?
What is it?
Value assigned. So this is being done by the formulas that are applicable, right? And some of the world's best bankers and consultants have worked on it. For example, in the LTA side, it has been looked at by Citigroup, GT Valuers, Kroll Advisory, and Citadel Merchant Bangladesh. In the Mindtree, it has been looked at by KPMG, Ernst & Young, Goldman Sachs, and JSA. Some of the best companies that you can ever think of. And both the entities met separately, the boards met, their audit committees met, their independent directors met, and the perceptible feeling is a very fair way of having gone about the valuation, and therefore we feel decent about it.
In fact, the entire audit committee, which is normally of 4 or 5 members, in this case, to understand in detail the type of question you are asking, they met 1 day earlier to understand fully, because finally we are answerable to our shareholders. And one thing you know, L&T is such a huge reputation we have to protect. Not even one shareholder should say, this is unfair to me or unfair to him. In fact, all must think it is fair to everybody.
Mr. Naik, is there going to be
Thank you. We'll take one question from the audio bridge from the line of Sai Ishwar from the Economic Times. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. Sir, just one question. Going forward, what do you think would be the challenges in terms of scalability, sir? Because in terms of market cap, the combined entity would be stacking up in terms of like top 5 IT companies. But in terms of employee count, it's still like 50% lower than the number 5 player like Tech Mahindra. So do you think employee scalability, like employee strength would be a challenge? Any challenges you're looking forward?
Well, the current strength between the two companies is already exceeding 80,000. Okay. Second, I think what is important is not just the employees, but what value you are creating. I don't want to say anything about my competitor, but please, whatever the number of employee, current profitability of L&T employee is the highest in the industry. Okay? And I hope two entities together will do even better.
Sir, this,
got it, sir. Just to follow up, sir, do you see any synergies flowing from L&T, the parent company, to win mega deals? Do you see that also coming, flowing together?
I said that already, that there are customers, I don't want to name those customers here, but they have L&T's overall ownership of these companies, and there are customers who know us well. With that leveraging, we have been able to at least 25 to 30% of the value because of L&T Group.
Sir,
I'm talking about revenue.
Sir, since this is a related party transaction, you will be requiring majority of the minority vote, right?
Yeah, you're right.
And just to understand, will there be a churn at the board level as well?
I think it is too early, 11 months are there, but obviously we'll comply with all the regulatory requirement.
And you're not anticipating any challenges with getting regulatory approvals apart from shareholder approvals, any other approvals, CCI, SEBI, anything that you're worried about?
We don't see any problem.
It's a straightforward transaction.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Vivek Kumar from Informist Media. Please go ahead.
Hello, good evening. So I wanted to understand what is your vision on IT business in the current environment, and also how do you intend to differentiate yourself from the rest of Indian IT players? Is there any strategy on that?
Well, I mean, the fact is, the IT industry as a whole, there was no better time than what it is in spite of pandemic. Today, to find the number of people that the customer wants to fulfill the requirement is very, very, very challenging. So we see next 3 to 4 years, IT services business will continue to be prospering. However, obviously, whether the one aspect of digital or the other, we'll have to considerably increase our impetus to differentiate. As it is, you must know that we are the fastest growing company. We have made more PAT than anyone else. I mean, percentage rate. So obviously we have some differentiation. Otherwise, we'll get only the, let's say, ordinary kind of IT work, commodity work. But we will be differentiating even more as a combined entity. Plus, what Mr. Subramaniam has started, some startup, they are all digital backed, and they are by themselves going to create value. And someday we'll cooperate. Cooperate is a key word with this company because of the market reach all over the world, that the other two companies will get benefit of the marketing and sales activities of these two large companies. Hopefully one entity that time.
Thank you. Anyone who would like to ask a question, please press star 1. The next question is from the line of Alokesh Bhattacharya from Business Today. Please go ahead.
Hi. My question is, what are the exact complementarities between the two companies that made you go in for this merger? Like you said, you'll be invited to bigger parties, but in these bigger parties, you expect to get into industries that you have not done before, now that you have bigger scale in your markets that you would look at for the merged entity?
The way these companies have come up, LTI is very strong in ERP, SAP, Oracle, and certain aspects of insurance softwares like Duck Creek and such. Mindtree has come up as a customer experience, digital, IT engineering, and Guidewire kind of company. And now combining both these aspects of different specialization of theirs is bound to result in a customer getting a single experience of a much larger variety of offerings that a particular entity could do. And that's what we seek to capture. And as we go forward, there are new kinds of softwares being introduced, like Salesforce and ServiceNow and various other aspects that are coming in. Now the point is, instead of both the companies developing all these aspects of software as we go forward, by putting them together and as a single horizontal developing some of these skill sets is bound to result in a lot more synergy. And that's what we plan to do as we go forward, and that's one of the main reasons for this synergistic idea being thought about.
Harder at the Indian market, because there has been a very low share of your revenues for companies.
For both the companies, India is about 5%. LTI is more stronger in India, but don't forget Mindtree was the main IT company who did the Aadhaar implementation. So both are reputed and have a fairly good presence in India. The IT part of the income tax software that is in existence in India today was implemented by LTI. So we have some presence, but it's not big. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Seturaman Nallur from Reuters. Please go ahead.
Sir, what verticals exactly you are expecting to target post the merger, and any expansion in regions in terms of the countries you're looking at, especially after the merger? Also, how are you planning to tackle the margin problem that's been persistent for the industry over the last 1 year at least?
You asked 3 or 4 questions in one. I'll try to broadly answer you. See, let's leave the details of how the market and segments and customers are to be tackled to the management. Myself and the chairman at the board level, we'll guide them and we will help them in extent that we can, but it's left to the management to do it. As I said, it's too early to decide all that. Both the companies are independent per se right now. They'll have to function independently. And as and when the merger happens, the integration committee will decide where to focus on, where to accelerate focus on, where to give the thrust on, where the deals are coming from, so on and so forth. So let's leave it to the experts and the management to take that forward, if you don't mind. Thank you.
Sir, Mr. Jalona has been steering LTI for some time and brought it to this level. Why isn't he staying on for the integration? Why is he leaving midway? You said that
he has given personal reasons. I mentioned that.
Is he on board with this merger?
Of course, Sanjay has been a great leader, has done the company proud. He had his reasons for moving out. He has moved on, and we decided Debashish as the new CEO and MD, and let us take it forward from that.
Is there any impact on war happening in Europe?
What is that? Is there any impact on?
War happening in Europe on the companies?
On IT, I have asked our people who are sitting here. At the moment, there is no impact. On the contrary, demand has gone up because there are 5 or 6 lakhs software engineers in Ukraine. Nearly 3 lakhs have fled to Poland and Romania and here and there. And there are some customers who has called us and say, my work has stopped because of the Ukraine war. Will you be able to give us in 1 week 1,000 people? Now we ourselves are today having a serious problem of manpower. How do we capture the additional demand which has come up as a result of the war? So I think it is not impacting us negatively. If at all, if we had the capacity and if we had a manpower, it can affect very positively.
So, sir, are you saying that headcount issues are challenging your growth at the moment? Is that becoming a limiting factor?
Well, that what is true for the entire industry is true for us. Obviously, today industry average of attrition is running from between 18 to 24%, 25% in the worst company. Fortunately, we are running average at the lower end, 18, 19%. And we have opened in 2 new cities where the attrition rate is very low. Although today we have only 1,500 employees there in Calcutta, where the attrition rate is 8%. But today only I met Mr. Chatterjee and I said make it 5,000. Because you may still be able to recruit in the eastern region, particularly Calcutta and around. And that will be the constant effort. And then we are starting a new delivery center in Coimbatore, where also we expect the attrition rate to be not more than 12%.
We already have 1,500 people there.
And more than 12, what is it, 12%?
Coimbatore will be around that, sir. Yeah.
Though it is not a subject matter here, but our third company, attrition rate, with their biggest delivery centers are not the same as this. Mysore, which is 13%, and Baroda, which is 11%. So the average on engineering attrition rate is 12%.
No, fair enough. And you already answered this question that L&T Tech would not be merged, but just to understand and get perspective, will there be any kind of synergy if these 2 entities ever look at merging? Like, just from a business point of view, does it make sense?
No, we will lose the knowledge focus.
Okay.
And today also, where we feel that the customer needs engineering as well as IT. As I told you, both the company put a combined bid. And IT, and that we do in L&T also. It is not only in IT. L&T has vast number of businesses. And there are many times 3, 4 businesses combined together to quote for that project.
Okay, thank you. No, I think.
Anybody has anything now?
Exhausted.
You want to ask any question now? I'm more than happy. I'm little better mood now. Please.
So you answer on L&T then?
No, L&T is not a subject matter. You can come some other day. We'll have a tea, coffee, but not more than that. Only for drinking point of view. You can have eating.
Sir, I am still very looking forward to interact with you. At 80 years, almost 80 years, you have more energy than what we all combined have.
No, I can't think of combine, but I am able to cope with you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, sir. This is the final